belimumab showed that higher effectiveness. Then recently, Zintrad all showed that the disease control and safety of the belimumab plus standard therapy over 7 years in patients with systemic lupus erythematosus last year. Then response rate was good, significantly high if the patient was treated at 10 milligram, belimumab, and then also viral significantly decreased, and then the patient global assessment or significantly might be improved. Well, then if we look at the immunological disorders after the treatment, as you can see that we can observe that they significantly increase the level of the serum level of complement, and also that the decreased level of gamma globin, also that independent autoantibodies in patients. Also, therefore, if this drug was used long, it is possible that can be much more effective. Maybe this result must be much more strong comparing with the result which was done, which was shown in the random control trial about maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And then she also showed that, as you can see, although that the patients was treated with long period, 7 years, still that the ratio of the adverse event did not increase. So it's quite safe, she said. Then I want to talk about T-cell pathway targeting agent. Well, actually, one of the main flaws of a T-cell targeting agent is co-stimulation blockade. As you know, here comes. Well, to induce that antigen-specific T-cell proliferation, T-cell requires that peptide information through that the T-cell receptor. But in addition, this T-cell requires that the second signal by that co-stimulated molecules such as CD80, 86, or CD40 or others, as shown here. So if we inhibit that the second signal, then those T cells goes into apoptosis and deleted. Okay, this is a mechanism to induce T cell depletion by the abatacept. When, as you know, abatacept can show that the real nice efficacy in a patient with rheumatoid arthritis, but actually, in fact, that clinical trial for that the lupus was failed and they reported last year. But now that they changed that the design of that control trial, and then they are doing that phase 2 trial again, in Japan, not only in Japan, but also in other countries like in Europe. Anyway, then other treatment, maybe cytokine blockade or kinase inhibitor like a SYK inhibitor and JAK inhibitor. And also that mammalian target of rapamycin is known to be very effective in the lupus mice nephritis. But anyway, all those are in that trial, some phase 1, some phase 2. But among those, we are very interested in this sphingosine-1 phosphate targeting agent. Yeah, this is a fingolimod and FTY-720. This drug was already approved to treat the patients with multiple sclerosis and showing that very nice result. But we try to clarify the efficacy of this drug in a lupus patient. Well, because in a group, we have found that, for example, Yamada found that the importance of that CCR4 positive T lymphocyte into the renal tissue to develop the renal glomerulitis. And also, Morimoto in a group also, the TH1 type of the T cells are praying to develop that type 3 and type 4 nephritis. Then this FTY-720 is a novel agent targeting the sphingosine-1 phosphate receptor with the ability to cause immunosuppression by inducing lymphocytes sequestration in a lymphoid organ. So that if we use this drug, lymphocyte cannot go out from the secondary lymphoid organ, so that they cannot get the site of the inflammation. Then, if this drug was given to the mice, BXSP, which is a model mice for the lupus, as you can see, we can observe the decreased level of CD4 positive, CD8 positive T cells, and also the B cells in the peripheral blood, but the number of monocyte is not decreased, monocyte is not decreased in the peripheral blood. And this drug cannot show that the inhibition of anti-DNA production. Okay. Then if you look at the efficacy in that in vivo, as you can see that FTY-720 significantly improved the survival rate 2 months after the starting of the therapy, as you can see here. And then that FTY-720 significantly improved proteinuria prevalence on 1 month after the therapy. Okay. So then if we look at the histology, this drug, as I have mentioned, cannot inhibit the production of anti-DNA antibody. And then, of course, this cannot inhibit the immune complex deposition. But somehow, if the mouse is treated with this FTY-20, then as you can see that, this glomeruli never get the end-stage nephritis. Mild, very mild, although this glomeruli have immune deposition, as you can see here. Then I want to show that the very different type of drug, okay, to treat the patient, and the mice, This is in this case, mice was used at the NGV black and white, F1. Okay, as you know, this is a lupus model mice. If we treat this mice with the bortezomib, this is a proteasome inhibitor, okay? This drug quite effectively inhibit the DNA antibody production, so different from the FTY-720. And then, as you can see, comparing with the control, and then the immune complex deposition is markedly decreased. So this drug can inhibit the deposition of immune complexes. So different behavior from that FTY-720. Then we now go back to the story of FTY-20. And then if we look at renal histology, we can see that the very decreased level of that recruitment of that CD4 positive and one CD8 positive cell, and also the monocyte in the renal tissue if that the mouse is treated with that FTY-720, as you can see here. So, although this drug cannot prevent the immune complex deposition in the glomeruli, but can make that nephritis lower level. So, sorry. So that the recent data, including that our studies suggest that the T cells are playing a quite critical role to develop the severe lupus nephritis, together with the immune complex deposition and lupus patient. So that the multi-target therapy, which was proposed by the Bowie, is quite reasonable if we see this kind of result, where the tacrolimus is aiming T cell. Mycophenolate mofetil is maybe aiming B cell or maybe plasma cell. Well, one drug inhibiting the production of antibody production, then the other, controlling the T cell activity. So to get the real nice improvement in lupus patient, we need the multi-target therapy. One way is no good. Okay, so that the feature is quite different from the patient with rheumatoid arthritis. Sorry. Okay, this is a summary. Discovery of disease-specific antibodies and new treatments such as the IBCY contribute to early diagnosis and aggressive intervention. Then that the survival rate has markedly increased in lupus patients. The new immunosuppressive drugs such as the mycophenolate mofetil and others are successful at lupus nephritis resistant to the conventional treatment, but there are still the unmet needs for the treatment. The therapy targeting innate immunity is expected to be a new approach to treat the patient with lupus, and among agent targeting associated with adaptive immunity, rituximab and belimumab are shown to be effective and may be useful to treat the patient who are resistant to the conventional therapy. Then finally, multi-target combination therapy is required to treat the patient with systemic lupus erythematosus effectively. Thank you very much. Sorry for that time over.